Hi, my name is Nevi Rose, and I have been a case manager for youth court for 10 cases now. The case manager's main goals is to have documents organized and assigned for your specific case. Day-to-day and weekly tasks usually include collecting papers, including the parent consent forms, having the referral forms signed, and making sure that dispositions are completed and signed by both the parent and the student. Most of your work is done before the trial, so during X block or last period. The day of the trial, you should email the teacher of the respondent to let them know that the student will be missing a portion of class and give them a pass during X block to come down. During the trial, your role is to observe and give a pass to the respondent. You also could fill in roles within the youth court if people are absent. After the trial, you should explain what the disposition means and when it will be completed. The respondent should be given a disposition form after being filled out by the jury. So following the completion of the disposition, the signed form needs to be returned at the point that it's finished, and at that point they can be given the completion certificate. So the final task is to email their assistant principal and let them know that they've completed their disposition and it can be taken off their record. So the two main people you should be communicating with are the clerk and the student advocate. This is a job for someone who's organized and has a good work ethic. So the pros, it's easy to get the hang of, it's not stressful, and it's a smaller workload compared to the clerk because it's more specified. The cons, there's no elevator paths, it's a lot of stairs. You're usually using a lot of your own X block times to collect documents, and you're not as involved during the trial.
Hi, my name is Presley Biller, and I am an experienced foreperson. In order to be a foreperson, the person must first be elected to the jury. The foreperson is usually decided on once all jury members are present for the hearing. There is no preparation needed to be one, and there is no extra work that needs to be done either before or after the hearing. There is not a restriction on how many times someone could be a foreperson. It is really just based on who is on the jury that day and who really wants to do it. Personally, I have been the jury foreperson about 3 times. It will be a student in the criminal justice class, not someone who is volunteering to be on the jury from within our school. The jury disposition form is pretty straightforward. As a foreperson, they are in charge of filling it out. They are also the guide to lead the discussion while deciding on a disposition. The jury foreperson is responsible for writing down the disposition that the jury decides on. Then they simply sign and date it, and the bailiff will return it to the judge, and that's it. Now, the jury listens to the disposition being said in court, and the hearing will be adjourned. Being a foreperson can be a great opportunity for people who do not want to stand in front of the courtroom, but still get involved in the hearing. It could be difficult to lead the jury of 3 student jurors who do not know what they're doing when they come in for the first time, because it will be the jury foreperson's job to explain it.
Hi, my name is Jenna-Lise Rivera, and I've been a student advocate for about 10 cases, and here's a few things I think you should know. In order to fit this role, the person must be understanding, empathetic, and an active listener. With this role, I want to make sure that the student feels as if they have a voice and feels heard about the situation that has occurred. As a student advocate, the first thing I do is read the write-up that was provided, to be prepared to know a little information before going to talk to the student and hearing their side of the story. Once I feel as if I have enough information, I will meet with the student and discuss the situation. That this usually happens during X block. After meeting with the student, I will start writing down all of my statements, such as opening, questioning, closing, and disposition. Once Thursday, which is the day of the hearing, comes around, I wait for students to come down. Once they come down, I give them a rundown of what's going to happen inside the courtroom before they go inside. Some pros of being a student advocate are being the safe place for the student, meeting new students and making connections with them, and then building communication skills. Some cons to being a student advocate are having to deal with behavioral issues, childish situations, and miscommunications. Hi, this is Logan Colito. He's a senior at Attleboro High School.
Hello.
And I am going to be asking him a few questions about his experience. So how was your experience on youth court?
It was very fun and educational.
And then, how do you feel about the process of being a respondent?
I feel like it is a better solution for kids that are in trouble.
And then, what did you learn through your process?
I learned that there's always a way out.
And then, do you think this process is beneficial for students?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Tyson Forte, and my role in youth court is to select jurors for our hearings. I have been in this role starting from case 6 until now. So on Mondays, I start by emailing 6 jurors to let them know they have been selected to sit on the jury. We choose 6 jurors to serve on the 2 cases upcoming that week. In order to do this, we put out a spreadsheet at the beginning of the year to see what students would be interested in serving on the jury. We select kids on the spreadsheet who do not match in grade or house with the respondent. In the email, we let them know that they will receive a pass and what day the trial will be. On Tuesday, we email the juror's last block teacher to let them know that the juror will miss class. On Wednesday, we email the jurors to remind them of their service. I also write the passes for the jurors on Wednesday because I don't want to be rushing on Thursday during X block. Thursday is trial day, so I hand out the passes during X block. When they come down at 12:30, we give them a checklist that they have to sign. It ensures that the jurors will do things such as keep the cases confidential, not talk during the hearing, and to not be biased. On Friday, all I do is send out the survey and update the spreadsheet. Some challenges in this role have been the fact that people don't show up when we give them passes. When this happens, we make sure to cross them off the spreadsheet to pick an extra member from our class. Another challenge is in the beginning when we had people show up for X block, they would usually not show up. When we realized this, we had to think of an easier way to prep the jurors for youth court. We realized that we had enough time before the hearings to prep them, so we did that instead. The last challenge would be finding people when trying to give them passes. People sometimes like to skip X block or do not go to the right room. This is a tough problem because the only way to address this is to ask the teachers in the surrounding area. In this role, you definitely need to be organized. Keeping track of the spreadsheet and who is on what case is definitely a challenge. To make sure of this, you just have to ensure you are updating the spreadsheet the day after the hearings. If you consistently do this, then you should be able to stay on top of it. To be in this role, you also have to be very patient. Sometimes jurors might not take it seriously, which can be very frustrating, but you have to explain to them that this is serious and that these are real student records, and it will most likely change their mind. This is Ryan Patel. He's a senior, and he served on a hearing as a student juror. How was your experience as a student juror?
So my experience was very very smooth and fast-paced. I signed up and I was immediately placed on the jury. The process, it felt very realistic. We even have like a judge's chair in the back, and like the flags and everything. So when you step in here, it really feels like an actual like courtroom.
What did you learn about youth court?
I learned it was a student-run program, and yeah, it was pretty organized and run well.
Do you think it is valuable to be available to the students?
I think it is very valuable to be offered to our students. I think it's one of the most valuable things that Attleboro High has to offer for its CTEs. I'm not in criminal justice, but I can just imagine how the realistic experience of youth court can be applied to what they're learning in class.
And do you think restorative justice should be used in schools?
I think restorative justice is extremely important for both schools and for like the teachers and everything, because it focuses on rehabilitation for both the students and the teachers and like everybody else, like the victims and the respondents in this scenario.
Hi, my name is Caleb Plass, and I'm an experienced judge. This role is quite straightforward, as it is pretty much just a script to follow throughout the entire hearing. The only preparation that is needed to be done is to run through the script a few times until the person feels ready. The script does not need to be memorized, as there will always be a copy of it on the judge's stand that can be directly read off. However, as time goes on, you'll get more and more comfortable with the role, so you may have to read off the script less and less. In order to fit the role, the person must be comfortable speaking in front of the classroom to approximately 12 people, as your voice is the most important thing in keeping the trial on track. One of the most interesting parts of the trial to me is the end of the hearing, when the disposition is read, when the judge has to explain why they think it is a fair and impartial decision. Specifically, the explanation is one of the most challenging parts of the role, as you have to improvise why you think the decision is fair on the spot. This can be challenging for those who can find it difficult to come up with words to describe how they're thinking. However, other than that, there's no additional work necessary for being a judge throughout the week. Once the judge calls court adjourned, that's the end of the judge's duties for the week. Some of the pros about being the judge is that it's not too time-consuming and gives you plenty of time to help out other members of the class or to simply do classwork that was assigned for the day. However, for those who want to help youth court in a more active sense, the role may feel underwhelming, as you feel more like a mascot rather than a massive player in the system throughout the week, with the only real work you do being at the day of the trial. The only other thing that can be considered either a pro or a con is the attention you get, as sometimes having 12 people all looking at you to progress the trial can be overwhelming to some, and to others it may feel like a dream. One final tip I would like to personally give to the upcoming judge is You will make mistakes. It is only natural, so you don't harp on yourself for making an error, as you are not expected to be perfect. As long as you continue to act professional and keep going with the script, most likely, no one will bat an eye.
Hi, my name is Alex. I was school advocate for one rotation of 8 cases for the youth court. This is my involved role. Starting Monday, I am preparing for the trial. This includes sending emails, talking to deans and teachers. On trial day, I am active in the youth court, but before the trial starts, I am organizing information like what happened and what an expected outcome from the dean in order to write my opening statement and questions. I am representing the school as in the House AP and reading the write-up. After my closing statement and disposition is determined on Friday, I am getting feedback from it and preparing for the next hearing. The person who would best suit this role is someone who wants to defend and talk in front of people. Is definitely more active and social role. A positive could be that you have the chance to show people you are there to help, but not there to cause any damage. One challenge is that school advocate can be seen as rude, even though it's just the job. Sometimes people can be too aggressive and end up causing more harm than good.
My name is Ava, and I was the clerk for cases 1 through 8. Whenever the new cases come from the APs, it's the clerk's job to open the file. You must label the case file with the school year numbers and the case number. Throughout the week, as case managers and student and school advocates take papers out and put them back in the files, you should maintain the organization of them and make sure that everything is always in the right place. The clerk also keeps up email correspondence with the APs to update them on the status of the cases that they referred. You are also in charge of scheduling all hearings. Make sure that all forms are properly filled out, dated, and signed off by the people who need to sign them by the time of the trial. To keep everything in order, the clerk has 2 checklists, the clerk checklist and the workflow checklist. On the day of the hearing, the clerk's only job is to time the hearing and make sure that the folders stay organized. And Fridays are used for picking up new cases and maintaining the organization of the files. After the student respondent completes their disposition, the clerk is the one responsible for verifying with the case manager or student that it was completed and to sign off on the completion and disposition forms, as well as updating the assistant principal who referred them. The clerk works closely with case managers along with the student and school advocates for various forms. Outside of the youth court, the clerk also communicates with the APs. Someone who's organized is best suited for the role of clerk. And this role requires a lot of communication between a lot of different people. Organization can also sometimes be hard when juggling multiple cases at once, especially when you need to track down people to sign certain papers.
Hi, my name is Abby. I've been a bailiff for about 10 cases in our youth court. My job is to guide the people in the youth court and ensure order. As bailiff, my job only takes place when the youth court is in session on Thursdays. Maintaining order in the court goes as followed in our script along with the behavior. My tasks include providing the jury with deliberation options and the documents to do so. I interact with everyone in the court, swearing in participating members and entering evidence. A fit person for this role wants to be involved in both the youth court and the classroom. As the one responsible for keeping order, this entails addressing bad behavior in the courtroom and enforcing the rules. This person is less active in the youth court, but is orderly and serious about the trials. The pros of this role is that it's easy, the cons are it's less involved.